Hello everyone and welcome to Grinds Online Ireland. I'm Tara and today we're going to be covering complex numbers and their roots. So our equation today is show that z squared minus 16 is a factor of z cubed plus 1 plus iz squared minus 16z minus 16 multiplied by 1 plus I, and hence find the other roots. Now guys, if you're ever asked to show that an equation is a factor of another equation, that means that if you divide the two by each other, so in this case, if we do the long division, z squared minus 16, all that divided by z cubed, plus 1 plus I z squared, minus 16z, minus 16, 1 plus I. If we divide the two of them, and if the z squared minus 16 is a factor, we should get 0 at the bottom at the very end. So they should divide evenly. So let's see if it does in this case. And if it does, we've shown it. So first off, z cubed divided by z squared, that's just going to give me z. And if I multiply that back in now, I'm going to get z cubed that's the z squared multiplied by the z, and the minus 16 multiplied by z will give us minus 16z. And because that's not a z squared, that's just a normal z, I'm going to put it underneath the minus 16. And let's just put in, just for the sake of it, 0 z squared here. Next step now, guys, is to change the signs. So if I do that in this case, this becomes a minus, this becomes a minus, and this becomes a plus. Adding all the two together, we can see that these cancel each other out. Oh, the 16s cancel each other out. So we're just going to be left then with 1 plus I z squared minus 16, 1 plus I. Okay, next step now, we divide the 1 plus I multiplied by z squared into the z squared on top here. And if we do that, we're going to be left over with the 1 plus I. And now we're going to multiply that now back in. So it's z squared multiplied by 1 plus I. That's just going to give us 1 plus I z squared. And then the 1 plus I multiplied by the minus 16 will give us minus 16, 1 plus I. Next step now, guys, change the signs. So this becomes a minus, this becomes a plus. And if we see here, the z squareds cancel each other out, the 16, 1 plus i's cancel each other out, so we're left with 0. And because we're left with 0 here, because they divide evenly to each other, we can conclude then that z squared minus 16 is a factor. Okay, so that's the first part of the question completed, but the next part, we have to find the other roots. So if we know z squared minus 16 is a factor, first off, we can just find the roots z is equal to by setting this factor equal to 0. So if we bring the 16 over, it becomes plus 16. And then if we square root both sides, it's going to be z is equal to 4, but be careful, it's going to be plus or minus, okay? So whenever you're square rooting both sides, guys, it's really important you include that plus or minus sign. So there are two roots. How are we going to find the final root? Well, we do that by going straight back up to our long division at the top. And our answer for a long division is the other factor. So to find the other root then, we set our other factor equal to 0. And then to get z on one side by itself, we bring over the 1 plus I. So it becomes minus 1 plus I. And multiplying that out then, we get z is equal to minus 1 minus I. So the three roots in this case are going to be z is equal to 4, z is equal to minus 4, and z is equal to minus 1 minus I.